Hey, Sooner football fans, this is your Sooner Football Fans podcast. Hit the subscribe button right now so you won't miss a single episode. It's that time of the week. It's time for Podcast to Podcast. Our Sooners take on the Iowa State Cyclones, and we have Cyclone fan Thomas Norton from Big Xii Country Podcast. Thomas does the podcast for Big Xii Country covering the Iowa State Cyclones, and he tells us what we can expect with our Sooners traveling up to Ames, and are the Cyclone fans expecting another big upset. Sooner football fans is not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma, but we do have eligibility left. Boomer.
Saturdays in Norman are back in full swing, and if you're looking for a way to partake in the fun, look no further. Whether you're a visiting fan of an opposing team or an OU parent, alumni, or just a college football enthusiast in search of a tailgate, then Tailgate Connect is for you. By connecting with a host here in Norman, Tailgate Connect gives you access to a tailgate community ready to crack open a beer with you, share food off of their own grill, and introduce you to 50 of their closest friends. It's affordable, it's hassle-free, and it's all-inclusive. Don't miss our opportunity to celebrate college football the right way. All you have to do, Terry, is go to www.tailgateconnect.com to learn more and sign up for the OU Tailgate. Now be sure to put OU Sooner Fan Podcast in the referral box.
Yeah, that's important because that's how we get paid, and me and Rob need chicken and beer money for Thursday nights.
I'm poor. I mean, just to put it plain and simple.
Hey, Sooner football fans, you got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Still basking in the glow of another win.
Feels good.
in
2-0.
Sooner Nation. Yeah.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll be 2-0 for another 5 days.
At least.
At least. So,
undefeated number 5.
yeah, I think rightfully so. I'm okay with that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else ahead of us has beat anybody.
Not really, no.
You know, they've all played the same caliber, really, basically. Maybe a little less, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
so.
because I think Florida Atlantic and UCLA, it's a solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's not Ohio State and Houston.
Yeah.
But, they're solid.
Well, I did hear about Robeson, what you were talking about yesterday, had like 600 yards of passing against Air Force.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was second in the nation. I mean, Air Force is not that good.
Yeah, but still, it's 600 yards of passing is a lot of, you know, for one guy.
If you can do that in practice, it's good,
Yeah.
I think. But the kid from Boise State, or maybe they just had total offense of 820 yards or something.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean,
120 yards? Like what?
But, yeah, we were just talking, too, about some of the games. Kentucky beating Florida.
Man, how bad are those Florida teams? Like Florida State almost got beat by Samford.
Yeah.
I don't even know where Samford's at.
Right. And it's crazy to think.
I just know he has a son. I'm joking. That's Sanford. Right?
It's Lamont, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, wouldn't it be great if there was a Lamont University and they played Samford and Lamont?
Oh, my God. And there's a reason why nobody listens to us.
Oh, yeah. But, the bands would have to get out there together and do the bump, bump.
They probably would hate that song. They would probably hate it. By the way, it's Sanford, not Sanford.
Yeah,
so.
but still, it sounds good. But anyway, let's get into some Sooner talk.
Are you sure you don't want to keep?
No, I know.
We can about Sanford.
Well, we can continue on with a little bit of the Florida stuff. There are lots of Kentucky. I think first time in like 30-something years. Ridiculous.
I know. Hey, Mark Stoops, though.
Yeah, again, Stoops is rising to the top.
Absolutely. The family can coach.
Yeah, and then, let's see, like you said, Florida State.
They're so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're terrible.
Yeah, and just 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, those teams were dominant.
But who did they beat week 1? Was it Miami?
Who?
Florida State?
No,
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I've slept.
Yeah, I don't think it may have been Florida State. I can't remember. Oh well, we don't care about Florida.
No, They're bad. There's not a team down there that's any good.
Yeah, I know. So you think that has to do with there's just too many damn colleges down there now? I mean, you got Central Florida, Florida International, Florida Atlantic, Florida State, Miami, Florida.
South Florida.
I
mean, the talents just split up, and teams like Oklahoma and Texas
are getting them, and
are
then
going in and snatching out good ones,
and then these smaller schools are getting their fair share.
Yes, I don't know, but I was at the Orange Bowl in 2000, and the guy I was with, we were just kind of exploring, and so we were trying to get down to South Beach.
Yeah.
But, it was kind of cold. I mean,
we're wondering why you were wanting to go to South Beach.
Yeah, there weren't any, swimsuits out, so to speak. But within a block radius of walking, we heard 5 or 6 different languages, and, people just aren't nice to people. So it's not, I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but it was different.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, but anyway, let's get into some Sooner talk. Let's go ahead and jump into that. We got Kyler Murray was named the Walter Camp FBS Player of the Week and the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. Again, he was 19 of 33 for 306 yards, 69 rushing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 2 rushing TVs. Pretty phenomenal.
Solid day. I mean, the 19 for 33 doesn't just stand out.
Yeah.
If it was, 19 for 23,
that'd be a lot better.
But I don't know.
But you brought it up when we were prepping for the show. There's some people out there, kind of not really getting on him, but not real happy. It seems
right.
like.
Yeah, because some of his passes were a little errant. Some of them were high. Some were sailing. Those are going to get picked off if we ever play good defense.
Yeah.
But he's going to figure that out. He's going to get better. He's going to dial it in. And I'm going to tell you something. I think his stats are going to get better and better because with Rodney out now, they're going to. Right. He's probably going to pick up some more running plays that are designed for him.
Right.
So once he starts breaking because he's so fast.
Right.
If he hits he hits the hole and he runs for 50. Then that safety is going to start creeping up, and then he's going to burn him deep.
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of a vicious cycle there. Hopefully that's the case anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's what, as a Sooner fan, that's what I'm hoping for.
Right.
So.
Well, and, we need to think back to what Anthony Fogel said about Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, even though, Anthony, your pick was way off for the FAU game. But, he's not Baker Mayfield, okay? Kyler Murray is not Baker. He's a phenomenal athlete, but we had something special in Baker Mayfield, not just his talent on the field, his leadership. All of that stuff goes along with how he played.
His accuracy.
And his intensity.
Yeah.
All of that. This isn't Baker, but guys, we've got a phenomenal quarterback right now that is lighting it up.
So he's a phenomenal athlete who's doing a really good job at quarterback.
There you go. Yeah, I'd take that.
I mean that sounds like a slight on him. I don't mean it to be.
Yeah.
But, literally, he's a phenomenal athlete.
Well, jumping on, did you hear what Calcaterra said? There was a couple of videos of the game or clips of the game when, Hollywood caught and broke, and he started jumping up and down just when Hollywood caught the ball and broke. And they were like, you start celebrating. And he goes, I do that every play. When he catches it, and if he turns the corner and passes, gets behind the defense, nobody is going to catch that guy.
Nobody's catching him.
And
he may have been jumping to see over the line of scrimmage.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, the weapons that he has, I think with Hollywood Brown, that it's a timing thing. He is so much faster than those other receivers. Mm-hmm. He's throwing behind him, but you got some of his passes were errant, and the catch that CD made that he was out of bounds, which they should have just gave him just because he caught the thing. I mean,
that was outstanding.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a catch or not, but
his foot, literally inch off of that, off the out of bounds marker, but. The weapons he has, and he's just building more weapons, and it's just going to make him better, and he's going to get more confident. You look at what happened, that it wasn't just, happenstance that he started throwing to CD, spreading it out more in this game. UCLA when that was coach. It's like, hey man, you've got look what you have over here. You got the biggest wide receiver target you got. Yeah, you got your deep ball threat, but you got to spread it out, and he did. He threw it to more people.
How many receivers did he hit this last week?
5 or 6, and I think CD had 7 or 8 catches.
Calcaterra had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, Calcaterra had 3 or 4. Hollywood had, I think, 5. So he spread it out to like what they wanted to. So he's just going to get better. He's going to get more comfortable, and we're going to see. Lincoln said today on his press conference. Again, well, not Lincoln. It was Kyler said that we still haven't opened up this offense yet.
Yeah. And, it's still in. Yeah, it's still. They're just idling right now. I think they got.
Right.
They still got some gears to go through there.
It ain't neutral or first, but it's in second or third. I think getting ready to. It ain't kicked into overdrive.
Well, I know that we're anxious to see it.
Right. And so, other big news we found out last night. Everybody's been talking about it on Twitter, the news, and everything else. Rodney Anderson is out for the season. Knee injury in the second quarter. This guy in 2015 broke his leg.
Yeah.
Fractured a vertebrae in his neck.
Man.
And 16. Last year, hurt a shoulder part of the season. This year, first game, everybody starts talking about Heisman and then goes down. And I watched the play over again earlier today. It wasn't anything.
I know.
It was just went down.
And it's just so sad because he's definitely one of the top 2 or 3 players in the nation.
Right.
And I don't mean back. He may be the best back in the nation.
Right.
Top 2 or 3 players in the nation, and very well that he was going to be on the. He was going to be at the Heisman ceremony.
Right.
I mean, as long as we have the year that we think we're going to have, and he's probably going to run for 100 and plus every game.
Yep. So, but 2 things. One, first off, I gotta throw this out there because even though Caleb isn't on, we were talking before and talking last night. He takes full and complete blame for the Rodney Anderson injury, because Caleb hadn't put his screensaver or his background on his phone yet, and he forgot to before the FAU game. So he was debating on whether or not to put up a background on it because he didn't just keep the win streak. You know how me and him are. We're the superstitions going. Friday afternoon, he made his background on his phone Rodney Anderson.
Okay, so does Caleb smoke crack? Because I'm thinking he does.
So he takes partial credit. Partial credit. He wanted me to apologize to everyone for it. But the interesting,
feel free to add him.
At
Dr.
Long. But the interesting thing was how the players spoke about him and said that he was still the heart and soul of this team. He was still involved with the team.
Yeah, but I doubt he travels.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I mean, why wouldn't
he? He's going to be taking on some major therapy.
Yeah, that's true.
I doubt he. I mean, he may, but.
But here's the thing, the question is he this year's Sooner Gipper?
Win one for the Gipper kind of a deal?
Yeah.
Well,
they all say, I mean, I saw posts on Twitter today from some of the players that the rest of the season is for you. The rest is for you, things like that. He's highly respected on that team. So
if your heart does not go out to Rodney Anderson, then you have no heart.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid has done nothing but work his rear end off and injury after injury after injury, which is, it's going to cost him some money.
Right.
I mean, it is. I mean, he was looking at millions, I think.
Right.
Because, he's going to be a first, if not the first back taken, a first round pick.
Right.
And, that equals to millions of dollars for that young man. And now, I mean, the question is there whether or not he gets drafted.
Right.
Does he come back so that he can try and prove himself? Does he not? Because he could just get hurt again.
Yeah.
And then he would definitely be out of the.
Well, my understanding is, and from what I heard from several outlets today, is it's too early to talk about. He's going to have to go through whatever he's got to go through, whatever it is the injury is, and he will be getting with consultants, and the team will be getting with consultants to give him the best advice they can. So,
but as a fan, what do you think? Do you think he should go?
I don't know, man. I'm torn on that because he's never put together a full season. And you're a phenomenal athlete. It's undoubtedly. You look at his stuff on Twitter, his strength, all that stuff that he does. A lot of times it's not about the athletic ability. Is he durable enough to make it through a whole season?
Oh yeah, I mean
that may be what
real question.
Yeah, well, that may be what these consultants say is like, look, you can go out and you can go on and try to make a team. He's not going to get drafted, I don't think, this year. If it would be, it'd be a real late round, or they would tell him, invite him to walk, not walk on, but free agent walk on, and try to make the team. But spending money on a draft pick that has never made it through 10 games, they're just not going to do that. And it may be that the consultants tell him is if you're ever going to play in the NFL, you got to put together a full season. Maybe. You got one more chance. You got to take it.
Unfortunately, he's going to listen to agents.
Right.
And agents are going to say,
well, I don't know. The coaching staff there has gotten to where I think they really sit down and these kids respect their opinions because they put hundreds of guys in the NFL.
Sure they do.
And they're going to tell him, get out of here. It's time for you to go prove yourself. Or they're going to go, hey, let's get you, back in the strength and conditioning. Let's get that thing fixed, and let's get a full season under our belt.
So he already has his bachelor's degree.
Yeah, he's going for his master's right now.
So really, there's nothing holding him. If he gets a chance to get paid to go to the NFL,
yeah,
man, you got to go. I think I don't know, but that's why. A lot of them come here to get a degree. I'm not saying that they don't. But really, the main focus for most of them is getting to the NFL.
Right.
So,
well, look, how big of a loss is it for Oklahoma losing him?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I hear a lot of people saying it's not that big a deal because the offensive line is going to turn the next man up into
right.
But I don't think that's true. I think we could still be successful, with Trey Sermon and the rest of those guys back there, but we won't be as dynamic.
Right. It's not going to hurt us now. I think it's going to hurt us if we get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's going to hurt us. But you've got, 4 other backs building strength and endurance through that time.
And, we don't recruit scrubs, so somebody may show up and be the next Rodney Anderson, the next, whoever.
And we're all excited about Rodney. I think he's one of the best backs, potentially one of the best backs Oklahoma's had. But Lincoln, since he has been there, he did it with Mixon and Pirine. He did it last year with Anderson and Sermon and others. It's whoever's got the hot hand. Yeah. And he even said that today in his press conference. They're still going to run by the mentality they have. They're going to rotate backs until somebody gets the hot hand.
Well, Sutton and Pledger got, I think, more carries than Trey Sermon did.
Yeah, than Sermon did. Yeah. So, we got Sermon, we got Pledger, Sutton, and Brooks. All had carries last week.
Wait, Brooks did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he got in.
I think probably towards the end of the game. I think it was when it was. But, at least you got those first 3, okay, that are you may have taken the alpha out of the fight, but who's to say that now that Trey Sermon hasn't sat down and went, now it's my turn. It's solely on my shoulders, because he's not the type of back that Anderson was, but he's a good back, and he had flashes of greatness last year.
Yeah, he's definitely good.
So
he's a hoss. He's quick. I don't think he's as quick as Rodney was, but I think he's maybe a little bigger.
Yeah, and I think he's more apt to run over you than Rodney was, and he's got some moves, but
big bruiser.
Yeah. So who do you think's gonna, out of those 3, is gonna rise to the top? You got a thought on that, or you still want to wait and see?
Well, I think they liked what they saw out of Pledger last week. He hit the hole with some authority.
Yeah,
and. I don't know. Sutton's a senior, right?
Yes.
So you might as well give that freshman some carries. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You might not be able to do that now, but you might. He's going to get more than he did.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get more than he did.
I think they're probably going to just wait and let the cream rise.
Yeah. And which is a good, because now you've got, like I said, the alpha gone out of the group. Obviously, he was the alpha because he was the starter. And now you've got 3 guys that are going, okay, now I've got to be that cream that rises.
Hopefully.
That sounded terrible, but.
Well, no, hopefully hopefully somebody, really steps up and becomes, oh my goodness, that's the next, Heisman back or whatever. Is that person even on the team? I don't know. But
well, and this is one thing I hate about social media and the time that we're in. Why in the world are we even talking about Heisman Trophy candidates right now? Everybody's on so-and-so's watch list. But it gets a little old to me. Yeah. It's the same way as ESPN and Fox. They all do it at the end of the day. If the playoffs were today, here's my playoff teams. Who cares? I mean, it's not, the playoffs aren't today. The playoffs, when we start getting into the end of this end of the season, 2 and 3 games to go, 2 games before the conference championship games, then those numbers start mattering. But now, stop. I know it gives us fans something to talk about and bitch and moan about, but
here's the thing, though. We've got a lot of injuries.
Oh yeah,
a lot of injuries. If we have any more, we're going to fall out of those discussions.
Yeah,
but so would Clemson, for instance,
right.
if their quarterback goes down.
Right.
Everybody's one injury away from upset.
Yeah. So
I mean,
but so one of those guys is going to step up, and it may take all 3 of them to take up the slack of a Rodney Anderson. If that's the case, so be it. As long as we can continue to knock out 150, 250 yards a game rushing, there should be no complaints.
Well, and the good thing is that offensive line of ours.
Yeah,
it could be the best in the nation, or if it's not, it's top 5.
Right.
It's going to open some holes. And you remember the old Dallas Cowboys back when Emmitt Smith was there?
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith was not the greatest running back in the world, but there were holes there that he skipped through.
Because he had Mack trucks in front of him.
Right. They had the best offensive line in pro football.
Yeah, exactly.
At that time, in that era.
Yeah.
So I think that, whoever's in the backfield for us is going to benefit from that,
right?
Which is a great thing for us.
Again, those big hosses are just going to get bigger, or they're just going to get stronger and more cohesive as the year goes on.
Yeah.
So,
and you seen Creed Humphreys in there this last week, so
and they were having to push around a 350-pound nose tackle now.
380.
My bad.
Yeah. So I guess they felt like maybe he could go 1-on-1 with him better than
forget
Samia.
Forget technique. Let's go brute strength, because
that's what fight is what that was.
Yeah, because that's what they said was his technique and the knowledge of the offense wasn't there, but he's just a freak.
Physically.
Yeah, he's just
monster.
So, kind of like me,
absolutely. 6'5", 330.
Yeah, something like that, But when I stand on a 4-foot tall ladder and hold 200 pounds in my arms, then yes, I am.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of way too early rankings, I just thought, where are we sitting at? Rob, you kind of threw this out. We'll see what we did after the first of the year, but first off, we're number 5 in the AP and coaches poll, and I think everybody in the country can agree with that. We all. It really doesn't matter, but it's a good ranking. I think it's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
If we were going to jump somebody in the top 5, who would it be?
Yeah, I think Clemson should have dropped because A&M gave them everything they wanted.
Yeah.
So
but the problem is you don't know if A&M's for real or if Clemson's not. If Clemson's overrated.
Right.
So just too early. Too early.
Let's see. We have the number 18 total offense. Okay, that's everything. Number 5 in special team efficiency. Number 61 in total defense, giving up 707 yards. But again, it's early. Bama's number 51. Okay. And you got to look at that and take it as it is. A lot of these teams like Bama and Oklahoma, they may have only played 4 quarters of football, the true ones.
Well, and the ones only gave up 7 to Florida Atlantic and really only 7 to
UCLA.
So really the ones have only given up 14 points in 2 games.
Right.
So it's a little bit skewed.
Yeah.
But
like I said, Bama's the same way. They pulled everybody out, halfway through.
Sure.
the first quarter as well. There's no reason to keep those out. So it skewed. Those numbers, I think, will probably improve. We are number 3 in sacks. I don't know how long it's been since we were number 3 in sacks.
I think I heard today that we have more sacks right now than we had all of last year.
That's possible. I haven't looked that up, but we need to look that up. But, that's the testament of, I guarantee you we didn't have 8 sacks after 2 games last year.
No.
And this defense appears to be an attacking style, blitzing. And I'm sorry, and the more Kenneth Murray, and I know a lot of those, that dude is freaking amazing.
He is good.
He put out his own little highlight video today on Twitter, and it was just
So I watched some YouTube replays last night.
Yeah.
And the closing speed, there was one play where they were trying to go outside, and it was Curtis Bolton, wasn't Kenneth Murray. But, I mean, they were stretching the play out, and I think Kenneth Murray took the quarterback who then pitched it to the running back who turned on the jets. But the closing speed from Curtis Bolton, man, he got there and hit him behind the line. I was like, man, I don't think we ever did that last year.
Oh, I guarantee you we did.
Impressive.
But Murray did the same thing on another option play, almost the exact same thing. It was our linebackers so far appears, and our front 7 appear to be doing their job.
Yep.
The linebackers are getting the majority of the tackles, either behind the line or for very little gain, and that's what they're supposed to do.
Man, and those linebackers are in the right spots. So when the running backs are going through there, it's an impressive thing to watch.
Right.
And we see the glass.
Yeah, we see the picture in there in the glass. It's maybe a guy that listens to our podcast sent me a message today and said, my glass is in the fridge chilling. So some people have got the Kool-Aid glass chilling or putting the ice in it, getting ready. I'm going to stand firm on it. We've got to see after TCU, where I'm going to give it that long. I hope they continue.
We're all thirsty.
Oh yeah, we are really thirsty.
If we go in there and dominate Iowa State, I'm afraid I'm going to have to. Yeah. I mean, defensively, if we just shut them down, of course, Iowa shut them down. So really, if they put 21 or 24 points on us, that's bad.
Yeah. So
because Iowa's not even good at all. And Iowa State was only able to score 3 points on them.
Right.
So really, if the ones go in there and pitch a shutout, that's really the only way we're going to be happy. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Yeah.
If Iowa State goes down and puts 14, 28 points, whatever, we're not.
And we've jumped right into Iowa State talk. What's the chance that regardless of what the score, if Oklahoma's up, 42-0 going into the fourth quarter, does Lincoln keep the starters in to get the shutout?
It's an interesting question because since they beat us last year, does he go ahead and say let's
show them? Yeah,
let's rub it in just a little bit.
So that's going to be an interesting. It's just going to be, hey, we've avenged ourselves from last year. Even though coaches always say it. Hey, last year was last year. We don't talk about last year. Bull. You and I play. In high school ball, they did it. I mean, not that but it is. It's ridiculous that to me that coaches say, we don't look at last year. Yeah, they do. That's motivation. Don't be this team that we were last year.
Right, absolutely.
But
I mean, if it was me, I probably would have painted the number 67 up in the locker room, and every time y'all went in there, I would be pointing at that. Yeah. This is what you were last year. Yeah. Okay, that sucks.
Right. Yeah. But first, we need to apologize to the Iowa State fans. We made a mistake yesterday, which we probably make mistakes every day, but
not me.
Yeah, we vastly underestimated their stadium capacity. We were like mouthing, I don't know, it's like 35 to 45,000. It's not very big. Well, it's 61,500, which is bigger than the Boontown Stadium.
Picking the stadium?
Yeah, which is 60,218.
Well, how many people do you think they put in every Saturday?
They don't. I doubt. They're selling it out this weekend, I guarantee you.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they've already said it's done, and we're going to have the podcast on here in just a minute. I bet you that thing's sold out, and there's people camping right there right now to get spots in that berm.
Well, Booney Pickens don't sell out.
No, well, that's Booney Pickens. Quarterback Kyle Kemp is day-to-day with a knee or ankle. I read one place it was knee, another it was ankle, so we'll find that out from the podcast fellas. Their backup, Zeb Noland.
Cool name.
Yeah, cool name. But it's the third game in a row that Oklahoma doesn't know who their opposing starting quarterback is going to be. So, and I'm telling you, credit this coaching staff, credit Mike Stoops. You've got to know what quarterback's going to be in there to know what's going on.
Really, we ought to be able to stop them with some basic vanilla schemes.
Yeah.
But, we should have been able to do that last year, too.
Right.
I don't know. I think they obviously were a little bit better team last year than they were this year.
Right.
I mean, that's what the early signs say, but who really knows?
Right.
So, you think Iowa State's going to be just pumped up to play us, try and beat us again?
Yes. We're going to find that out here in just a second. I think also we're going to talk about with these guys how much their missing game 1 affected their game 2 against Iowa, and because they were supposed to play San Diego State and the game got canceled. They don't make up football games, which is a travesty. But so how much of that hurt them, what they think, but that's what we're going to find out, and that's what we're going to talk to the guys from Iowa State podcast about. All right, Sooner fans and Rob, it's one of our favorite times. It's what we call podcast to podcast. Sooner fans talking to Cyclone fans. And we have on with us from an Iowa State fan who does a fan podcast on the Big 12 Country podcast group. You can find his podcast on Big 12 Country Podcasts on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, really anywhere you find your podcast app. They're there. And you can follow him on Twitter at CycleTom. And again, he's from, I guess you're from Iowa, aren't you? But it's
yep, I'm from Iowa. Yeah.
Okay, so it's Thomas Norton. You go by Thomas or Tom? I should have asked you that beforehand. But,
either way works. I'm not picky.
You're not picky. We can call you Hey You, and you're fine with that.
I'll answer.
Okay. Well, we got Thomas Norton on with us, and we appreciate you taking the time out to visit with us on the upcoming game this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. This is the first one I've gotten to do this year, so I'm excited.
Well, good. Now, first off, just so you understand the rules of our podcast, Rob and I don't talk about losses, so we're not talking about last year, okay?
No, man, we got to talk about last year.
Come on, man.
Yeah, okay, fine.
No getting around.
Yeah, we'll have to. We're going to bring that up, but we need to jump into Iowa State. First off, tell us about their first game was San Diego State, correct? And it got canceled because of the weather, right?
Pretty close there. The State.
It was who?
Yeah, we were able to actually get through a lot of the important stuff with pregame routine and all that, and actually got to run a series. So I think there was actually a lot of positives from that. Yeah, there was a lightning storm, though. It came, and it never really left. So about 3 hours later, they called it.
Wow. See, that's, I know safety and everything, but I'm pretty sure I played flag football in a lightning storm when I was a kid.
Yeah.
People these days, I swear,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just don't golf in it. I think you're okay.
Bingo. Now, and don't stand under a tree at a golf course. You ever notice that? Everybody who gets hit by lightning at a golf course is either holding their clubs or standing under a tree. So just go back to the clubhouse.
Exactly.
Anyway, Iowa State took on their in-state rivals.
And how big? Yeah, how bitter is that rivalry?
Yeah, tell us, share that rivalry with everybody.
The Cy-Hawk rivalry, I guess, is I don't know if it has an official name. I guess that's as close as it gets, though.
Well, if it doesn't, you just name it. So, and it's a good name.
It is. It's been dominated pretty heavily by Iowa. They had a 15-year streak there. for a while. We broke that, and then we got pretty competitive, surprisingly, under Rhodes for as much stress as he put us under. He actually beat the Hawks a few times. So, yeah, like I was getting ready to say, though, it's not a conference game, but it is big for the state. So, you know, it obviously gets fans riled up and whatnot. But as far as on the scale of importance for me, I mean, I want to win conference games because that one, you know, that essentially is our warm-up game now, and we're going right into you guys. So that's where my priorities are anyway.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, first off, let's jump into the coach there. It's second year, isn't it?
This is actually Matt Campbell's third year.
Third year. Okay. See, learned something today. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't do enough research. Sorry about that, guys. So, Iowa State fans, I guess, are loving him, especially after last year.
Yeah, and you know, don't feel too bad about that. The first year is pretty forgettable. I think we had 3 wins. So no, we love him. He fits the culture of Ames, Iowa, pretty great. And honestly, what we want to do with him there is build something akin to what Kansas State has right now. You know,
right?
Bill Snyder came in and he took the worst program in Division I football and created a culture and has an identity there, and they've had a lot of success with it. So that's kind of where the hopes and dreams of Cyclone fans lie.
Right. So with the big in-state, and like you said, are most fans like you that they want to get into conference? How did the fan base take the loss to Iowa? What was their reaction?
Well, a loss to Iowa always hurts.
Yeah.
I hate losing to them in anything, really. It's seated in just growing up around each other, you know.
Right.
It's, before you know what conferences are, you know your buddy over there is a Hawkeye fan, and for at least 1 week of the year, you don't like him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is definitely a huge piece of it. It just was unfortunate this year that we had to miss that first game because I do think there was a lot of things that we did miss out, despite the good short parts of it I described earlier.
Right. Yeah, because that was, I mean, that had to affect the team a little bit. Not having a game under your belt. Iowa did, right? So
right. Yeah, they had a chance to knock a little more rust off. At least the things we saw on our one drive against South Dakota State were very positive. 5, I think, yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
But no, I think one of the biggest things, and maybe Sooner fans don't realize that we don't technically have an offensive coordinator right now. Matt Campbell is the one calling the plays. So I think that this game is actually a pretty big whiff for him to be able to get 4 quarters under his belt with the players this year, calling plays and kind of trying to find a rhythm, as opposed to going into the Iowa game. You've got your scripted series to start, which worked great, but had some trouble adjusting after that. And, that could be some rust there just for Campbell.
So is that his choice? That is he like Lincoln? I'm just going to call the plays and I'll have co-coordinators in my ear all day, or is it is that his choice? He just wants to call the plays.
Yeah, our offensive coordinator went to the Colts in the off season, so we lost him. And then so he decided he was going to be the play caller this year, and he kind of offhand said, if you want to call anyone else a co-coordinator, you might as well call Kyle Kemp, the starting quarterback, that, because he just has such a good grasp on the offense. And I know that's a lot of coach speak,
right,
but he is a 6th-year player, so it is pretty understandable that he would have a good handle on it. But we would have liked to seen some more adjustments in scoring, obviously, over the last weekend. Right.
Yeah, because you're only able to jump up and get 3 points. And funny thing was, in my prep for having you on, the other day I was going through and I saw the score on TV, and I got to the stats page, and I was sitting here looking at all these gigantic stats, and I was like, why? How was this game so close and low scoring? I was looking at last year's stats.
Yeah, that one was a different story.
Yeah.
That was, unfortunately the same ending, but that game was a real thriller.
Yeah. And, I was sitting there, I was like, man, these guys, they all threw up like 600 yards of offense, and they can only get 16 points together. Good Lord. And then I realized, oops.
Stark contrast there.
Yeah.
We went Big 12 style last year, and we went into the Big 10 style this year, and it did not pay off.
Yeah. And that game this year, did you go to the Iowa game? The one last
I
time?
was not there.
Okay.
I wasn't there. No.
Now, and this is something that we've had, I think all, college fans can appreciate. They've got one of the coolest traditions, in my opinion, as far as what the fans do during a game anywhere, is where they turn to the children's hospital. Have you ever been there for that? Yeah. Is that
I have not been there for that. I've actually never been to a game inside of Kinnick Stadium. I've been there outside of it, tailgating.
Threw eggs at it and stuff like that,
Yeah, I didn't throw any eggs at it. But, no, I've been there for, the atmosphere and all that. It's great. It really is. And that tradition specifically is really incredible. I don't think you're going to find a Cyclone fan that, is a reasonable person that would disagree with that either. I actually saw West Virginia just started doing something sort of similar. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool, too.
Every time I see it and they show it, it gives me chills.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I mean, it's just something that is really cool. But
yeah, not yet.
Yeah, but so let's get off of your start off with a loss, a canceled game and a loss. Iowa State.
I want to ask him about the mascot.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so
what was that one? I kind of missed it, I think.
So your mascot is a cyclone with some kind of a bird coming out of the top of it. What is that?
Well, the cyclone moniker comes from a newspaper article back in the early days of the program. After we kind of dismantled an opponent, newspaper described it as a cyclone rolling through, and so they kind of just stuck with that. As far as the Cardinal, I don't recall exactly when that came into play. To be honest.
What mascot is on the sidelines?
What mascot's on the sideline? It's a Cardinal.
Okay, all right.
And it's called Cy, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, and the reason why Rob was asked that, we had. Our podcast, we have fans on, just normal fans, and they get to talk about whatever they want. And we actually had a fan who had came in from New Jersey for his first OU game, came to our tailgate, and we invited him over to do the podcast. And we were telling him, we're getting ready, and he goes, "Can you ask them why they have a cardinal for a mascot?"
I mean, they're the Cyclones.
Yeah, he goes, "I always wondered that."
Yeah.
So
I wish I knew, and I swear I probably have before, and I just can't think of it now. But as far as the Cardinal goes, but the Cyclone one, hey, at least I got half of it. So
yeah,
good enough.
Well, last year Iowa State was the nemesis to both Oklahoma and TCU in the Big 12.
Gave them both a whipping.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a fun month.
Yeah. You said that you were at the game at OU. What was that like? I mean, were you in shock going into the fourth quarter? Seriously, just what was your reaction and the other fans around you's reaction?
Go ahead and lay it on us. When you planted that flag.
All right. Let's talk about this then. All right.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to interact with a lot of Oklahoma fans in the stadium because I actually got to sit within the parent and family section.
Yeah.
Just kind of fell into some tickets that way, and it was a great time and all that. But honestly, to start the game, we came into it with kind of no expectations once we found out that our starting quarterback was down, and we were going to have to start a kid who's in his fifth year and he's getting his first start at his third program and all that. It did not seem like the stars were aligning at the time. So, the first thing that happens, you walk into that stadium and the crowd's all striped out. It's gorgeous and all that, and we're excited because it's perfect football weather. It's a good day. Despite what we're afraid we're about to see. And then, Baker Mayfield goes up early, kind of skirts around the outside, runs into the end zone, and we're looking at each other like, yeah, this is going to be a long day. They serve beer in the stadium or what?
Yeah, no, we don't.
No, but as the game kind of, you guys got up by double digits and really did think it was probably not going to get any closer, They started closing it down in the second half, and they started seeing it didn't seem fluky, I guess. It seemed like we were putting some real drives together and playing some real football.
Right.
And so that gave us some confidence going into the fourth quarter. We're looking at each other like, I think we can do this. Starting to feel it, Yeah, and then once that clock ran out and that pass fell incomplete, it was total shock. Yeah, that would be a good description.
Yeah. So was it? Did you end up having half of the Iowa State fan base have to stay the night because you were celebrating too hard afterwards, or?
Well, we were going to experience the nightlife anyway, so we already had something booked.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I mean, and that was a big win, and then turn right around a couple of weeks later, you guys do the same thing to TCU, and
Yep.
You probably went
and that was
printed that game with a little more intensity, thinking, "Hey, we can knock these guys off too."
Yeah, that one was fun too because we had already had the Oklahoma game. We knew that TCU was not going to look past us,
right?
And so it was a new thing. All right, well we surprised someone. Let's see if we can do it when they're ready for us. Because there's always that talk like Oklahoma might not have been quite ready for what that was. That was one of the first games after our newly installed 3-man front defense that we pulled out and changed for the Texas game.
Right.
So that's really when that all started to change, and then it held up against TCU, and offense wasn't great, but got it done, so it was fun.
Yeah. Now, of course, Baker became known for two things last year: a crotch grab at Kansas, which
it wasn't winning the Heisman Trophy.
It wasn't winning. It's more about he grabbed his crotch against Kansas, and then he planted the flag the week before the Iowa State game at the Big O at Ohio State, and lo and behold, at the end of the game, the TV cameras shows a guy running out a player, and I believe I can't think of his name. I thought I got his name down, but he come running out onto the field with a tiny state flag of Iowa and stuck it in the middle of the field.
It was the state flag that they run out on the field with to start the game.
Yeah.
The player was Everett Edwards.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that happened until we were already out of the stadium, and we were sitting we were sitting outside just kind of like, we found someone selling beer. So we grabbed,
there you go.
We grabbed a beer, and we were sitting there trying to let the moment kind of just take us over. And we were up on Twitter or something and saw that and had a laugh over it.
Yeah.
And then we got into one of the bars, and there was a drink called Plant the Flag. So, of course, we all bought one of those.
Now, here's my question.
Yeah,
here's my question about that. Has Iowa State upgraded their team flag to have something more visible the next time that happens? Are y'all carrying around
I'm going to guess that. I'm going to guess no, because I think as soon as he had that flag planted, one of the coordinators was running over there telling them, no.
Yeah. Honestly, if we're going to take it and we go, oh yeah, that was cool, look what Baker did, oh my God, I can't believe, you got to be able to take it. I didn't have an issue with it.
Absolutely not.
I thought it.
If you don't want that done, win.
Yeah, win on your home field.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And you know what? And this has nothing to do with us beating Oklahoma.
Right.
I have no problem with Baker Mayfield. I love his fire and the crotch grab, the flag plant. I love it all, man.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
And that.
But you're right. If you're going to dish it, you got to take it.
Yeah, you got to be able to go, hey, But that's a question around here in Oklahoma is what's Baker's statue? Heisman statue. We have the Heisman Park, outside the stadium. And everybody's like, is it going to be him throwing a pass, running, planting the flag, or crotch grab? What's his statue going to look like?
Even though we did it to you guys, I still think it's got to be the flag plant at Ohio State. That was awesome.
Well, and I think most fans, if not planting the flag, because that wasn't something he just did at Ohio State. He was known before and after games. He would go grab the flag, and I think it's the Roughnecks OU flag, isn't it, Rob?
Yes, it's one of the Roughnecks flags.
And he would grab it from them, and he would run to either end of the field and wave it, to the crowd. It wasn't, win or lose,
Okay.
And so he was doing that, and I don't know if it was his idea at Ohio State. They kind of showed him. I think somebody said, "Dude, go put
Someone
it in the middle." Yeah. And you tell Baker, "Dude, go do that," and he was like, "Ooh, okay, hold my beer."
He's not gonna say no.
So the year before.
No, I didn't know that though. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had already done that before.
the year
just kind of
before,
with the fans and whatnot.
The Ohio State players stood on our field and sang their song or whatever.
Yeah, their victory song or whatever it was.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, then it really was justified.
Yeah, it was. It was something that you come back with. And
Well, I think a lot of them got their panties in a wad over it.
yeah.
There was a whole bunch of people crying that it was tasteless or whatever.
Yeah, but now the Ohio State fans who are Cleveland Brown fans don't have a problem with it.
Oh yeah.
Now it's okay. We want him to play this weekend. So
Funny how that works.
Yeah, but with what happened last year, how pumped are the Cyclone fans and everybody up in Ames for this weekend to get here?
I think we're all pretty excited. I obviously a little more nervous than we were, 3 weeks ago after seeing Kyler Murray for a couple of games.
Yeah.
He looks like he's the real deal.
Yeah.
They don't look like they're going to miss a beat on offense, and it's really, really unfortunate news on Anderson. But I got a feeling that you guys are going to plug and play somebody who's going to do something good too. So you've never been short for running back, that's for sure.
Right. So are they expecting? I've heard.
You guys think you're going to come down here and win again?
Or we're going to go up there and win, or we're going to come up there and you're going to spank us and send us home?
No, I don't think there's much of the. I don't think there's much of the spanking talking this year. Pretty much staying within ourselves. Like, look, these guys are coming for us. they're gonna want some. All right, and I think the reason that's a little subdued right now is obviously the loss and then not having that first win of week one that we believe we would have had.
Right.
But one of the good things that I think we can put our hat on right now is, at least after the Iowa game, our defense still looked like it was the real deal, the same as it was last year. It does have a lot of experience in places that are important for stopping Big 12 offenses. So there's a little bit of hope. I think it's kind of like a glimmer at this point. I think a lot of people would predict a loss, though.
Yeah. Wow. I would think they'd be. Yeah. I was thinking that because I've heard that the game is sold out. And all that is that.
The attendance for Iowa State games has actually been pretty good, despite the record.
Oh, really?
and it has been increasing too. And it's not close to the size of Oklahoma Stadium, but it is the third largest in the Big 12.
It's bigger than Boone Pickens Stadium. We found that out today, which is hilarious.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jack Trice has got some seats in it, and we've been filling them up the last 2 years pretty good. So the atmosphere is going to be crazy. Everyone on game day is going to be rooting for that win. And you're catching me 2 days after the loss right now, so maybe I'm just a little tougher.
So let's see. Have you lost the quarterback? What did he end up hurting? Was it the knee or the ankle? I read two different things, that it was a knee.
Yeah, what I've read is knee. But I know what you're saying. I've read both as well. They aren't saying much about it. All they are saying is he is still a possibility for Saturday, but he's day to day. So best case scenario is he starts for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you got the backup who came in, which has got a pretty cool name. We thought Zeb Noland.
Yeah, Zeb Noland. He did not look great, but again, that's your first game in the season is up against a really tough defense, and you haven't thrown a live game pass since the previous season. So he came in and played well against Baylor when Kent was hurt last year. He came in the fourth quarter against Oklahoma State last year, and we barely lost that game. So he should have a couple of wins. He's experienced. He's got a big arm. I would say it's probably not far off to say he was a little rattled on this last Saturday, though.
Yeah.
Me and Terry don't care which quarterback it is, as long as it's not a backup linebacker.
Yeah. Because y'all put in it was the linebacker that then ended up finishing off the game.
Yeah.
What the hell was that all about? Do you not understand how livid most Oklahoma, I'm not going to say most, I think every single Oklahoma fan was after that game, was they beat us with not even a quarterback. He played high school quarterback, right?
Yeah, he was a high school quarterback. He played a full year starting and got some other time before that at Iowa State at quarterback.
Okay.
He switched to linebacker in the spring of last year.
Okay.
So he went through spring and fall workouts and went right into it.
He's not there anymore, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's actually with the Cowboys right now.
Good.
Hallelujah.
He might be on the practice squad at the moment, but he did make their roster and all that.
That's
so,
good.
Hey, he was legit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we know that for a fact. I mean, but we've kind of joked all year long as long as Iowa State doesn't turn around and get a quarterback out of the stands, we should be fine. But
well, we might have something there cooking now too. We just threw a true freshman in at middle linebacker in the Iowa game, and he had 11 solo tackles and. He was extremely effective.
Hey, we got one at middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray.
Yep.
The dude is bad, okay?
Is he a freshman as well?
Yes, he is a freshman and plays, I don't know, he plays like lights out. The dude is fast, strong, and just
doesn't look like a freshman.
No, and he even put out his own highlight video, today. I mean, which was cool. I mean, he just went on and I guess pulled some stuff off of the web and then just like, I can't remember what he put on it, but he just put out there, hey, this is me doing my thing or something like that. And
yeah,
he's impressive. So, I mean,
well, that could be a cool little storyline then with the two freshmen middle linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so are we going to see Sooner fans, are we going to see the same type of offense as we did last year? What do we got?
I think you'll see. I don't think you're going to get much by watching the Iowa game from last weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it looks like. Probably going to be a lot like what you saw last year. Again, that could probably change a little bit too, depending on who starts quarterback and all that. And then with our new with Campbell calling plays this year, it's kind of hard to say. You've got film on us for 2 years though. I think the offense is what it is, and they're not really hiding that. You might get a new wrinkle or two. Who knows?
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's probably going to look a lot the same.
Yeah. So, what about your defense? Now, Lincoln Riley today on his press conference said that Iowa State was the best tackling defense the Sooners faced last year. And just to note that includes Georgia, who went to the national championship game. What's your defense like, and what's making it click this year? Are we going to see you said the freshman linebacker? What else do you think the defense has going for them?
Well, on the defensive side, as I was kind of touching on earlier, we've returned quite a bit. Our defensive line, and I don't think I'm being a homer when I say this. I think it's one of the better defensive fronts you're going to face all year.
Yeah.
It's just a little three-man front, but we got a guy that eats up a couple players every play and still manages to get some penetration. So the defensive line is really good. Our defensive backs you're going to recognize the names from last year, and they did pretty well in that game last year. I think the only real weak spots we were concerned about was that middle linebacker spot, because our outsides are the same guys as last year too, so they're experienced. That's one of the reasons we were so happy with our guy there in his first college start, playing well. And then the safety position, and that one is still a little up in the air. The kid that came in, he was I think he came in from Ole Miss and then a junior college. So I don't know what that was all about, but he's supposed to be, at least the same talent-wise as what we had there last year. So it's going to look a lot the same. I don't think you're going to see too much of a difference, and you should recognize a few names out there.
Okay. So the same defense that slapped us around last year, we get to go up against this year. So
I got to say though, I'm not feeling any more confident about stopping Kyler Murray than I was about stopping Baker Mayfield though.
Yeah, our offense is we don't even call it reloading. It just restarts. I mean, it doesn't even stop. I mean,
right, yeah.
That it's funny that Rob and I have talked about it before. Is when last year with Baker, everybody was like, well, he lost Westbrook, he lost Mixon, he lost P. Ryan. What's he going to go through? Well, then Anderson and CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown, and those guys are still there. Grant Calcaterra. This offense is loaded with talent, and it almost.
And we just lost
scary.
maybe a top 5 player in the nation.
Yeah, with Anderson, and But Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley's, when he was offensive coordinator, has always been he rotates back until that one gets the hot hand, and he even said that
right. So they're all getting reps out there,
yeah,
and benefiting
until one of them steps
Keep them
up.
fresh.
But all right, Thomas, we have one more very important question for you that we need to know, and this is for mine and Rod's perspective, because Rob and I are traditionalists. Okay. We've been Sooner fans our whole lives, and we're probably quite a bit older than you. But we go back to the 70s and 80s, and we don't like all the, we're not fans of our team changing up, with alternate jerseys, changing things like that. We just keep it like it is. But I have to ask what your favorite Cyclone helmet is, okay?
What my favorite Cyclone helmet is?
Yeah, because you guys have gone through 3 since the 80s, and you had the 80s. It had it was the kind of orange yellow helmet with the Iowa State and the Cyclone spinning underneath it. And then in the 90s, you had Cy the Cardinal inside the Cyclone, or was the Cyclone. And now you have the current one, and it's the capital I with Iowa State through it. Which one of those do you prefer?
Right. I got to say, maybe it's just because the 90s are kind of making a comeback right now, but I kind of like that bird in the Cyclone on the red helmet, even the blue face mask. When we even threw blue in our color scheme for a while.
All right.
I
don't want to go back to that, but I think that helmet was sharp.
Yeah. Well, I was upset again because I'm a traditionalist, and going back to the Big 8. It was, we had, Oklahoma's got the interlocking OU. Oklahoma State had the brand of OSU, which sucked. It doesn't matter what they would have, but, that's just our opinion. Iowa State had the cool, like I said, they were kind of yellowish orange, I guess, with that Iowa State and that little Cyclone underneath it. In Missouri, I just love those traditional looks, and it bugged me.
I really like that 80s logo on the helmet that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's probably number 2 on my list. I wanted to bring that tornado, that Cyclone, whatever. Right. I wanted to bring that one back and start using it again. I think that'd be great.
Because I think that the I and the Iowa State going across it, and I don't know why, to me it seems too much USC-ish, Southern Cal-ish. Is that just me, Rob, or...
I don't know. I wouldn't want anything to do with, anybody confusing, University of Spoiled Children.
We didn't help our branding out when we had the uniforms that, the stripes on the sleeves and the gray face mask on the Cardinal helmet. Yeah. It did look like USC. We don't do the gray face mask anymore, so maybe that helped a little bit. I've come around a little bit on the I-State logo. I think it's grown on me a lot now. But it's funny that you're talking about, uniform traditionalist. I largely am too. I don't like getting too crazy with them.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of my buddies this last week, and the Oklahoma game came up, and then we were talking about, it's amazing to beat Oklahoma and Norman and all that, and all the good things about it. But we both kind of decided, I really wish they were just wearing their normal uniforms when we beat them, because those are the iconic ones.
Well, see, and primarily me and my son Caleb, who does the podcast with us when he feels like it. But we have issues with changing things, and one was the stripe to the stadium last year. Up until this year, we were 3-3. We striped the stadium last week and won. Okay, we put a double hex on us last year against you guys, against Iowa State, because we striped the stadium, and we did our alternate jerseys. But it was the first time Oklahoma had wore solid red.
Yep.
In a home game ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from red head to toe.
Which we will not be doing again.
I guarantee. And it was funny because we go to the coaches show. Lincoln Riley has a coaches show at a little barbecue joint here in town that's on TV, and Rob and I go to it every Tuesday. And that question was asked if those uniforms would ever be used again. And I yelled out no. So I was trying to answer for the coach, and he just kind of smiled and just kind of looked down. He didn't answer it, but I got a feeling they took at least those pants out and burnt them. I don't think you'll ever see Oklahoma in solid red ever again.
It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, keep it. It's just one of those deals. It's just me. Is I want to flip through the channel and see the uniforms and know who's playing. I don't want to have to look at the little deal in the corner and say, "Oh, this is Stanford and USC." I mean,
right? Yeah.
The jersey thing was an Oregon deal, and I thought it was great for them.
But that's actually a good question. Would you be opposed to Iowa State just going all Oregon and just having 100 different? I mean,
okay, yeah.
Is that something you would like, or?
As my personal taste, no. But at the same time, I want the athletes, and if the athletes and the kids coming in want that stuff, and they'll come to us and they'll play for us, and whatever we put out there, then I'm down for anything.
Yeah.
And you can dress us up in pink or something. I don't care as long as we're winning.
Good answer.
That's a good point.
Good answer. Which I want to ask one more if I can.
Okay.
So a lot of times we sit around and we talk about who's a blue blood program, and I don't know, Terry and I don't want to get like we're I don't know, elitist or anything like that. How does Iowa State view Oklahoma, and who would be your blue blood programs if you were going to pick 5 or whatever? Would Oklahoma be
the
in
very
that
last
conversation?
part of that cut out?
I was just saying, if you were going to pick your blue blood programs, would Oklahoma be in there, or how do you view Oklahoma?
Oh yeah, I absolutely view them as a blue blood of college football, 100%. You can't deny it. I mean, blue bloods are the programs that were, they established themselves early and they won championships and they set the highest standard for the sport. And Oklahoma's pretty consistent about that. We're not talking about a large part of the '90s, but a lot of the history of Oklahoma is winning history. So, wow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I'm glad that that teams like Iowa State and the Big 8 teams, it burns us that Nebraska left,
yep,
Missouri left, and Colorado left. We understand, and it's all because of the buttholes down south.
We don't care about Texas A&M.
Yeah, and how weird was that watching Nebraska versus Colorado as a Pac-12?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, and it was a great game too. It was a fun game to watch.
It was a really fun game. And that was a little bit of a rivalry as well. So yeah. I hope that the teams, and sometimes people disagree with me on this, but I would like to see those teams continue to play each other. Those old Big 8 schools.
Oh yeah. And that's what irked us about it was the Big 8 schools left, and Texas A&M. But it was like, as Oklahoma fans, that's our conference. You know what I mean? Iowa State, even Kansas, because they have basketball. But,
and to win.
Yeah, but is keeping the big, because really the Southwest Conference is the one that dismantled and joined the Big 12, joined the Big 8. And I really wanted that conference to stay together, that part of the conference. And I'm glad that we still have the ties with Iowa State and Kansas and Kansas State. I wish we still had that going with Nebraska and Colorado. Because I miss it, and I'm glad that Iowa State is stuck around, in the Big 12, and as much as I hate it as a fan of my team, you got to love it in college football when things like last year, happen. I mean,
absolutely.
You guys shocked. I mean, that's what everybody said after the.
Actually, to be honest with you, it probably helped us.
Yeah, it did. I mean, but
it gave us so much. It gave us so many extra eyeballs on TV. They're showing the highlights over and over again. Same thing when we went to Lincoln and won, and then when Oklahoma State came up and we essentially knocked them out of the national championship.
Which,
I mean, they had one to go.
Which is another reason why Oklahoma fans love Iowa State.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of people consider that one of the catalysts for finally beating the BCS and getting into a playoff. But I will say, as much as I love that win, that year, Oklahoma State versus LSU for the title would have been a phenomenal game.
Yeah. Yeah, but, they don't deserve it because they're Oklahoma State, and we will never say anything.
That's why they gave themselves the 1945 one, right?
Yeah, exactly. See, even people in Iowa realize that they did that. And see, we got the joke going is that this year, Oklahoma plays both national champions in 1945.
From 19, yeah.
We play Army next week after you guys, and we play Oklahoma State, so we get to take on both 1945 national champs. So, which I think is hilarious, but... Anyway, Rob, you got anything else?
No,
buddy?
I've asked all mine.
Okay. Well, hey, Thomas, we appreciate you taking
we really
time
appreciate
out.
It, Thomas.
It was a great discussion. And again, you guys, everybody can find his podcast on the Big 12 Country Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. And what was the other? You sent me another connection. I didn't write it down. Your Twitter account is at CycleTom, and it's CYCLTHOM. And what's your Big 12 country moniker?
Yeah,
Do what?
The Big 12 country team podcast for Iowa State is Cyclones _B12C. So
okay,
kind of short for Cyclones Big 12 country.
Okay, but you guys can check his podcast out as well. But we're looking forward to hopefully the Sooners are going to come up there and do what they should have done last year at home. But we're wanting to come up there and take a win. But we appreciate this was a great time. Lightheartedness. A lot of respect for you guys with what your coaches accomplish, and you guys are a growing program. But we're hoping we put a thumping on you this weekend. So,
well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Fans of Oklahoma and Norman were incredible. They went as far as to buy us drinks at the bar after the game.
Wow.
They just kind of seemed happy for us. So, I've been to 2 games there. Both times were positive experiences. You guys ought to get up to Jack Trice sometime at Ames. Great tailgating, great fan experience, and it's just fun college game atmosphere. So you have to get up there sometime.
Well, we're planning on picking a game every year from now until it's become our bucket list. I think because me and Rob are old enough to start a bucket list now.
I could die at any minute.
Yeah. Rods being put together with baling wire and old tennis shoe strings. So, that's that's kind of we've been talking here the last couple of years, and to go into an away game every year, and last year we went to the Rose Bowl.
Unfortunate how it ended, but what a game.
Yeah, but then next year we're planning on going to the Rose Bowl again, to UCLA game,
right?
And the year after that, Oklahoma is playing Army, and we want to go watch a game at Army.
Definitely want to.
Yeah, one at West Point would be great.
Yeah.
West Point would be.
And then like I said, start working around. As time allows, we want to get up to places like that. We've never been. We've never gone to. We had kids our whole adult life, and they're finally all grown up, and
we kicked them all
out.
Yeah,
get out and go do it.
Now we can go do what we want.
I got a group of friends I do that with. We're actually on year 3 of it right now, and we're hitting all the Big 12 schools. This year we're going to Austin. So we've done both the Oklahoma schools the last 2 years, and they were both great games. We didn't beat Oklahoma State that year, but it was a good one, close. So it's fun. I love college atmospheres. The environment's fun. Fans are fun. It's, in my opinion, superior to the NFL. So the game experience is just better.
Well, have you heard the story about what happened at Boone Pickens Stadium when they were building it?
Does this have to do with the bricks?
Yes, where apparently the bricklayer was a Oklahoma fan, and he inlaid the bricks in a big interlocking OU, and they didn't catch it for months, did they, Rob?
It was there for a while, if I remember right.
And somebody was like casually walking by and looked up and was like, "That's an OU."
Yeah. You have to understand, though, they absolutely hate us.
Oh yeah, Oklahoma State. And I'm sure. I'm not going to ask you to dog Oklahoma State, but you can.
We do.
Yeah, we do. But I'm sure, and I've heard from fans from Alabama. Every fan that I've ever heard that comes to Oklahoma, comes to Norman, says the same thing you do. It's cordial. It's fun. Oklahoma State wasn't like that, was it? Just say no. Okay.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh no, they were horrible.
Yeah, see, we told you
No,
guys.
it wasn't too bad, but I'll tell you, the stadium, it didn't fill up, and maybe that was partly because of the opponent that year.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. We had 3 wins.
No.
So the game atmosphere wasn't quite up to that level, and the town is a lot smaller, and it's just they're 2 different areas. I mean, it's hard to compare.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Well, we were supposed to end it a while ago, but we kept going. See, this is why Rob and I have a podcast, because this is what we do in our free time is talk football. So, but Thomas, hey man, we appreciate it, and good luck this weekend, and have a good time up there in Ames, and tell everybody we said hey.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Hit the subscribe button right now on whatever app you're listening to download every episode as they come out. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube. Boomer Sooner.